earlier thinkers who were socialists had already dreamt of or projected futures where all conflict would be resolved and human life would achieve some sort of perfection. Marx added these other elements that made it far more powerful than the earlier versions that he decried as merely utopian socialism.
So there's a million questions I could ask there, but so on the utopian side, so there is a utopian component to the way he tried to conceive of his ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, first of all, one has to stress Marx would have gotten extremely upset at this point in the conversation because to call someone a utopian was precisely to argue that you're not scientific, you're not rational, you are not laying out the iron laws of history, you're merely hoping for the best. And that might be laudable, but it was fundamentally unrealistic. That said, hidden among Marx's insistence that there are laws and structures as history moves through class conflict, modes of production towards its ultimate goal of a comprehensive final revolution that will see all exploitation overthrown and people finally being freed from necessity. Smuggled in among those things are most definitely utopian elements. And there they come especially at the end, in which Marx sketches the notion of what things will look like after the revolution has resolved all problems. There, vagueness sets in. It's clear that it's a blessed state that's being talked about. People no longer exploiting one another. People no longer subject to necessity or poverty, but instead enjoying all of the productivity of industrialization that hitherto had been put to private profit, now collectively owned and deployed. The notion that one will be able to work at one job in the morning and then engage in leisure activity or yet another fulfilling job in the afternoon. All of this free of any contradictions, free of necessity, free of the sort of ordinary irritations that we experience in our ordinary lives. That's deeply utopian. The difference was that Marx charted a route towards that outcome that was that presented itself as cutting edge science, and moreover having the full credibility that science commanded so much, especially in the 19th and early 20th century.
So there is a long journey from capitalism to communism that includes a lot of problems. He thought once you resolve the problems, all the complexities of human interactions, the friction, the problems will be gone.
To the extent that they were based on inequalities and on man's exploitation of man, the result was supposed to be a resolution of all of this. And inevitably, when you talk about the history of communism, you have to include the fact that this often tragic and dramatic history produced a lot of jokes that were in part reactions sometimes to the ideological claims made by people like Marx. And one of the famous jokes was that, what's the difference between capitalism and communism? And the joke's answer was, capitalism is the exploitation of man by man, and communism is the exact opposite.
Yeah, you actually have a lecture on humor. Yeah, I love it. And you deliver in such a dry, beautiful way.